Guys, welcome to Starling on Cinemas, and that's Cinemas with an S. And today I'll be giving you my review on Iron Man 2. Now before we begin, if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and leave a comment on that section below. Now, what is Iron Man 2 about? With the world now aware that he is Iron Man, billionaire inventor Tony Stark faces pressure from all sides to share his technology with the military and with the government. He is reluctant to divulge the secrets of his armored suit, fearing the information will fall into the wrong hands. Well, we see exactly that. With Pepper Potts and James Rhodes, now played by Cheadle, by his side, Tony must forge new alliances and confront a new powerful enemy named Whiplash. Now, about Iron Man 2, going back and looking at this movie, it was very entertaining. I've always loved this sequel for being the first sequel in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This has always been one of the best ones to me. But what do I think about the story? Well, even though Iron Man 2 is one of the least regarded films in the MCU by many, I happen to see this one as one of the more entertaining entries in the franchise, like I said. It is a good sequel, but mostly because of how much pressure Tony is facing in this movie, both from his friends and from his enemies. Because Rhodey told him in this movie that you said nobody would get their hands on this kind of technology in years, but somebody recently got it. And of course, that person is Ivan Vanko's character. Ivan Vanko, aka Whiplash. The action in Iron Man 2 feels very bold, especially in this climactic battle between Iron Man, War Machine, and those hammer drones. The story did help span the MCU a little bit with the references to the Avengers Initiative. The story of Iron Man 2 is also about legacy, because the movie touches bases with Tony's relationship with his father, Howard Stark, which we will see a little bit later in Endgame. We'll see a little bit of how that relationship improves later down the line in Avengers Endgame. And then the story explains that our legacy is so important that we determine what we leave behind in this world. And in this case, Howard left a mark on this world that only Tony would be able to find, manage, the key to creating a new type of element for his armor, which is that triangle arm right there. And then, of course, his legacy will go on to be a significant one to leave a big mark for the next generation to pick up. And about the characters, like I said, looking back on this movie, even though these are the early stages of Tony Stark's character development when he was selfish and egotistic and prideful, it's always great to see Robert Downey Jr. naturally own those charming and narcissistic qualities, because he is just so born for this role. Like, nobody can take it from him, even though his contract is over at this point. But when you look back on how well on how well Robert Downey Jr. was in this role, it is so irresistible. You can't touch it. You cannot take this role away from him. And Mickey Rourke's Ivan Vanko, aka Whiplash, he's not the best MCU villain, of course, but is certainly intimidating to watch. Aside from Tony Stark, most of the comic relief comes from Sam Rockwell's Justin Hammer, who sports similar qualities to that of Tony Stark, but less of an ego. The recasting of Don Cheadle as James Rhodes is one of the best decisions Marvel Studios has made, giving both his character and Tony great on-screen chemistry throughout Iron Man 2 and throughout their films together we see later in Iron Man 3, Age of Ultron, Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame. This is where we also get introduced to Natalia Romanoff's Black Widow, who we will see in her solo movie later down in November. God, well, you got to get to later. And Sam Jackson's Nick Fury does play a slightly bigger role in this movie than he did in the post-credit scene. Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 73% score, but I'll give it 7.9 SOs out of 10 for having entertaining characters, bold action, and for being a great sequel. It's not the best sequel in the MCU, but it's a very great, and it's more entertaining than the first movie. So that's my review on Iron Man 2. You can tell me what you think about it in the comment section below. How does it rank for you in the MCU? And I'll see you next time in my next video. Bye.